Hello, friends. So today we are going to talk about India's Vedic astrology chart. After a long time, I've been talking about India's astrology chart. And yeah, it's always of interest because we want to know what's going on with the country, what energy is there, what kind of period is there, stuff like that. And there's an interesting period of Mars which is coming up, the Mars Mahadasha or the Mangal Mahadasha, as you call it. So in Indian astrology, we have periods belonging to certain planets. Or the Mangal Mahadasha, yeah. And also, thanks everyone who's joining live on FB. Feel free to post your questions. If you wish to ask something, you can post it, but not about your life, about India, because we are discussing India's astrology chart, the nation called as India or Bharat, as it has been recently named. Uh, so let's talk a little bit about the chart. I'll be sharing the charts for India. Okay. Okay, guys. So let's talk about India. So India was incepted or started as a nation on 15th August 1947 at on the stroke of midnight, as they say. And that is the time when India's fate has been sort of encapsulated in this Vedic astrology chart. So very interestingly, before I talk about the upcoming periods and comparing with them with the past and stuff like that, I'm going to talk a little bit about our country based on astrology. Rahu is on the ascendant. This is the first thing one will look at, Rahu, the north node. So the north node is all about your uh, exploration. It is about cheating. It is about deception. It is, so we know that India, Bharat as a country, India as a country has been a lot about different kinds of scams, different kinds of cheating. Uh, there's always some trick which people have up their sleeve, and a lot of people will talk very misleading things, or they will tell half truths, or they will tell white lies, you know and sometimes it's not with a bad intention, but it's just to make the other person comfortable. They will just say something which is not true, but they will make it sound really true. So this is one trait of India and Indians that we can instantly see from the chart. And self-awareness is always good. It's not a criticism, but it's self-awareness. And uh, yeah, and then India is in the rising sign of Taurus. So one of the biggest things that all of us love in India is food. So food is dominated by the sign Taurus, because Taurus is a earth sign, which talks about food, clothing, shelter. And these have been the issues since a very long time. So weddings, even if you want to marry someone, you're going to ask what kind of house they have, what kind of food they have. Do they eat vegetarian food? Do they eat non-vegetarian food? Does it match with what we eat? And then there's also the question of what kind of clothes, what kind of house. Survival, roti, kapda, makan, as we call it, has been a big issue for all of us in India. So we can readily see it from the rising sign of Taurus. These are going to be the dominant life themes, life issues, right? So, and the moon sign, or the Rashi as we call it, is number 4, which is Cancer. You can see moon in Cancer uh, in this inception chart. So Indians are very emotional people, sentimental people. Most of us are very attached to the idea of romantic love, which is sort of mushy, sort of cheesy also in some ways. But like kuch kuch hota hai, and Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge. These kind of movies, we've made, which are, which if you see in the Western world, the people from the Western world, if they see it, they will say it is so cheesy, it's so, uh, I think it's also a little bit fake in some way because of the Rahu influence. But then there is this whole idea of, falling in love. There is an idea of emotional attachment to family. There is an idea of a lot of sentimental things. Emotional blackmailing also happens because of that. So emotions play a big role in people's everyday lives. And moon is, then we can see, that there's this whole bunch of planets in the uh, third house, and third house is the house of action. So Indians love sports, they love action films, they love these kind of activities, Moon, Mercury, Pluto, Saturn, Venus, all almost tightly conjunct in the third house in the sign of Cancer. Okay, so uh, and very interestingly, now the reason I'm making this video is because some important developments are coming up. And the first one being the Mars period of India. So every person or every country has certain states, dashas, which we undergo. So, like for example, India started in the Saturn period. So when India started, we had complete 19 years of the Saturn period from 1947 to 1965. And that's when we built the nation. We built institutions, we worked, we toiled with agriculture, we did a lot of things during this period. And Saturn is the planet, it is the karaka for discipline, for hard work, for difficulties also, troubles also. So we had to face a lot of troubles. It's not like only certain countries in the West have issues of riots or things like that. There was a lot of stuff during the uh, India partition, when India was partitioned into uh, two countries, India and Pakistan. So all these kind of things happened in this Saturn period. And then we moved on to a Mercury period. So Mercury was when India was 18 years old till the age of 35, 17 years of Mercury. And Mercury was the time when we started getting telecommunications, TV, this kind of stuff uh, started coming in, and news started becoming more prominent and stuff like that. Then after that, it was followed by a period of Ketu, and Ketu is from 1982 to 1989 when we had a lot of things like the assassination. So Ketu is the headless planet. So there was the assassination of the Indian prime ministers. Then there was the two Indian prime ministers were assassinated, and I think both of them were within this period of 82 to 89, or somewhere around that. So then there was anti-Sikh riots and a lot of different very traumatic, troublesome events during this period of 1982 to 1989, which was the Ketu period, one of the karmic periods, one of the challenging periods. Venus period came after that from age 42 to age 62. So that is the time when Venus is the planet of luxury. So the luxury started coming, foreign goods started coming, and there was a change in the economy. PVR Narasimha Rao, the prime minister, a lot of economic reforms. Manmohan Singh was the financial minister at that time, or something like that. So there was a lot of change and upliftment in the standards of living, but still there were a lot of poor people and stuff like that. But maybe the amount of pleasure that we started enjoying had increased a little bit. And yeah, this was the period when pop music became very, you know, came to came into vogue in that sense. We had pop singers like Alicia and so many others, Sonu Nigam and so many others started coming in at that time. So it became a more glamorous world for the Indians during Venus. Then this is just to demonstrate. And then there was the Sun period when there was a lot of resentment against the government because Sun is all about the leadership. And Sun is not so well placed with Venus and Saturn in India's astrology chart. So there was the anti-corruption movement by Anna Hazare. There was a lot of resentment towards Manmohan Singh was the silent prime minister and things like that. So, and then we are currently in the moon period, which is 2015 to 2025. And moon period, of course, we've seen a lot of developments. We've landed on the moon, so to say, and at the same time, moon is about emotions, moon is about security. So our comfort levels are increasing. We have more comfortable trains, luxury trains. We have more comfortable infrastructure for travel. We have a lot of development which gives comfort to people. And this again is not about the whole country, but there is this kind of development happening, and also maybe people are more focusing on their personal lives more than ever before. They're focusing more on travel. Moon is about travel. Moon is the fastest planet. So it's all about travel. So people are traveling more. That is why you see trains are always booked, flights are always booked. And during holidays, they're traveling a lot, especially since the last 4 5 years. And the Mars period starts from September 2025, as you can see. Uh, you can see it here that Mars is starting from uh, September 2025, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just check. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Mars starts from September 2025. So, sorry, Mars starts. See, this is the mistake that we've been making. So, Mars actually starts from uh, July 2024. So, I'll tell you why. Because always when someone is a newbie in astrology, they make this mistake. They use a wrong dasha calculation. They use a wrong dasha calculation. So they say 365.25 days a year. But ideally, you should use 360 days a year. And this is what all the experienced astrologers who I'm in touch with, they're using 360 days per year. So that is why the calculation becomes different, like 1 year or 7 8 months, there'll be a difference. Because I tell people as per 360 days a year. And that calculation works beautifully for me and even my other friends who are into astrology, who are quite experienced. Some of them are more experienced than me. Uh, Now, I'll also show you the same thing on another software so that you don't have this confusion about the start of Mars period. Let's see, where is this stuff? Okay, wait. Yeah. Okay, yeah, here you go. So here again, you can see that the Mars period is starting from July. Uh, Sorry, there is some confusion. Yeah, there is some confusion. Okay, we'll let go of this. Yeah. Okay, so so July 2024 is when the Mars period starts. Okay, uh, let me just check. Yeah, July 2024 is when the Mars period starts. So we saw in both the softwares that July 2024 starts. So July 2024 Mars period goes on till 2031. Mars periods are 7 year periods. So what is Mars? Let's talk a little bit about Mars. What is Mars? Mars is about it's a planet of aggression. It's the commander of the army. It's the uh, Mars is all about fighting, war. It's also about adventure. It's about the adrenaline rush. It's about blood. It's about technology. So India has Mars in the second position, in the second house, if you can see, right? We see Mars here in the second house in number 3, which is the sign of Gemini. Now, Mars in Gemini, as we know, is not very good position for Mars because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is a planet of intellect. And in that, when Mars comes, it is not very happy. So definitely you will see that, things are going to be a little bit uh, heated up. There'll be a lot of heated arguments. Like if you watch TV in India, if you watch the news channels in the night, there'll be, a lot of people shouting and debating, very violent debates sometimes, they'll try to cut off each other and they'll shout at each other. And that is, Indians have an aggressive way of communication because Mars is in second house of speech and in the sign of Gemini, which again rules our communication. So that aggressive communication is there, and uh, Mars is also with Uranus, which is the planet of shocks and sudden things, and so Indians have a very sudden, dramatic way of speech, and that we see from the second house, and the third house also tells us about communication. So we have a lot of planets in third house, so communication is very varied and it is very dramatic. So definitely this is going to increase. So the Arnab Goswamis are going to earn more money uh, because these things where there is a lot of violent communication or you call it aggressive communication is going to increase in this period. So Arnab Goswami is going to make money during this period. Big Boss is going to make money. So TV shows which promote this kind of stuff. Also, we'll see a lot of violent movies during this period. We'll see violent movies. We'll see movies about arguments, fights, these kind of things we're going to see. Because action movies are going to go to a new high because Uranus, So we'll see like science fiction, action movie style thing, that is going to increase a lot, because Mars is the planet of machismo. It is all about fighting, adrenaline, things like that, right? So we are going to see a lot of that during this period. And Mars is with Uranus, so also we will see technology developing, latest technology coming to India, and there'll be a lot of export, import of technology. So foreign involvement will happen for technology because Mars rules the 12th house, right? We can see here that Mars rules the 12th house, Aries. So 12th house is ruled by Mars, and also the 7th house is ruled by Mars. So the business of foreign technology or getting the latest technology uh, created in India, this kind of stuff is going to increase. Also, defense imports as well as exports are going to increase because Mars is about defense. It's about fighting. It's about war. So, yeah, that industry is going to grow in the years to come, and the business world is going to face a lot of new changes because seventh house is ruled by Mars. Seventh house is the house of business. This is the seventh house where India has Ketu. So, business, has been a sector where we've faced a lot of challenges, but now I think we're going to see a lot of innovation because Mars is with Uranus, and Uranus is the energy of innovation, is the planet of innovation. It is a planet of creating something new. So a lot of new things are going to happen. So our governments are also going to introduce new measures. So new policies are going to come into place. So 10th house is ruled by Uranus. So 10th house is the authority. So new government policies related to industry and technology are going to be big during this period. Industry and tech. This is going to be quite big during this period. New government policies related to industries and tech. Also, I would say that Mars in the second house is, Mars, as I said, is planet of war. So, yeah, there can be war-like situations from time to time. And, yeah, that kind of stuff can happen. Because, see, Mars is not a favorable dasha for India in the astrological sense. Sun dasha is not favorable, Moon is not favorable, Mars is not favorable. Because India's ascendant is Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, and Sun, Moon, Mars are not really comfortable with Venus. So that's the reason we will face these kind of challenges. Okay. And also, if we look at the moon chart of India, if we look at the moon chart, Let me just open the moon chart. Yeah. So if we look at the moon chart of India, Mars falls into the 12th house and it rules 5th house and 10th house from moon. So a lot of our uh, people will start, like there is this whole optimism of India becoming a developed nation and things like that. Yes, we will be more aggressive because Mars is going to give that fighting spirit. In sports also, India is going to do better than ever before. Even with chess and whatever other sports are there, India is going to do well than ever before during this period. Because Mars is gives that fighting spirit, and even if we don't win, we will still fight. That kind of attitude comes from Mars. So sports is going to be interesting to look at. Already, people are promoting sports like kabaddi and things like that. So that is kabaddi, Coco, new sports are going to come to India. Also, a lot of the virtual reality stuff is going to come to India during this period. So it's going to be quite interesting. And a lot of people are saying that now is the age of women and things like that. Yes, there will be a impact of the worldwide development where women are more free. But Mars is an energy of machismo. It's a more masculine energy. So next 7 years, uh, I would say yes, women will do well because Mars is with Uranus, and people are open to new ideas and stuff like that. But also there will be still this masculine strength will still be there. This patriarchal sense will still be there. This aggression will still be there. So we can't expect that to change right away, even though that's what everyone is hoping based on their, little bit of calculations they know from observation. But what I am using here is a 1,000-year-old science, and it's worked for so many people. It's worked for businessmen, it's worked for politicians, and it's used since thousands of years. So I don't really give a lot of weightage to what people say because they flip their statements as per convenience, and their observation is warped, it is skewed. So I use the lens of astrology because astrology doesn't lie. Just like Shakira's hips don't lie. In the same way, astrology doesn't lie. Astrology doesn't have biases about things. And as an astrologer, as a Jyotishi, it's one's duty to present the truth rather than what sounds good to the. Yeah, of course, some motivation has to be given, but it's also about what is true, what is really relevant, what is really applicable. Okay, let's continue. Now, some of you might ask about the economy, very important. So economy, yes, as I said, technology and all this stuff, second house is the house of money. So economy is going to be a big focus for the next 7 years in this Mars Dasha. Uh, your business is going to be a big focus. The government is going to try to impose uh, many uh, strict measures, but also it's going to have new policies, as I said. So things are going to open up more. And I think it will be more of an open market that's going to come into place because Uranus influence is very significant, and many Vedic astrologers, they don't consider Uranus. So we might have finance ministers in the coming days. We might have finance ministers who are very liberal, who are very open-minded, who are very progressive. We might have foreign affairs ministers who are very progressive. We might have, you know, as I already mentioned, finance industries ministers who will be very progressive, things like that. So we'll start seeing that in the years to come. In the next 7 years, we're going to see all of this. Okay, let me just, someone is, yeah, just a minute. I just have to change something here. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. So let's talk about a little more about what we can see. So yeah, economy, again, Mars in the house of money. So we have to be careful about our finances because there can be reckless use of money. We might see reckless spending of money because Mars is also the 12th lord. So reckless spending of money, savings become difficult, savings become threatened. So we have to uh, invest in a secure manner, create a backup during this period. It's very important. Mars also is about it's a lot about ups. It can bring volatile situations to the market, definitely. Uh, like they say, the market is bullish, bearish. So this volatility will be there with Uranus and Mars because a lot of new things are going to happen. New forms of money like Bitcoin, etc. New currencies are gonna play a big role. They are going to come into the market because Uranus gets activated with Mars because Mars and Uranus are together. It's a yuti, it's a conjunction. Okay, so this is the important thing. New currencies are going to come into play. Uh, of course, in the YouTube video, I'll make the timestamps so that people know what I'm talking about at which time. Uh, okay, what else? Okay, very important. Seventh house rules relationships, and Mars rules relationships in India's chart. So what will happen is also the seventh house is also the opposition by as considered by some people because we have Ketu in the seventh house. Our neighbors are not very happy with us and things like that. So there's a karmic discord that we have, disharmony that we have with our neighbors. So that can lead to some issues from across the border. Definitely, yes. Of course, Mars in second house will create a lot of fighting spirit. So that will also come. So it's the planet is not just creating issues, it's also giving you the strength to fight those issues. Also, I would say there will be an increase in India's army, maybe, army, India's defense forces. There will be more and more youth who will want to go into sports, into defense, into, more adventurous professions. So there's going to be a spike in the number of people going into the army and things like that. So that's going to maybe balance out whatever it is. But we're going to see this. And the chances of these skirmishes or problems will be mainly in the Mars Ketu period. So that is December 2028 to December 2028 to May 2029. This is the period in which we might see these, war-like situations or problems with our neighboring countries and things like that. We might see this during this period. Also, the Mars Ketu period, that is when I would expect this to be maximum. Mars Rahu period, December 24 to Jan 26, I would expect more of things like, devious activities, scams, or some violent situations in public. This is what I would expect. Drug situation can uh, become more volatile. So be careful during this period. So I'm sharing this so that you can align your business, your career, and your stuff. Of course, you're going to forget because you are looking at it very casually. Unless you have a pen and paper and you're making notes, you're just wasting time, you're just gonna. But anyway, I think it will still sink into your subconscious what we are talking about. Okay. So what else? Okay, I was supposed to talk about relationships because relationships and talking about relationships is one of my forte. uh, yeah, yeah, financially I think one of the periods we have to be careful. I think we have to be careful throughout the 7 years, but the Mars Rahu period, December 2024 to Jan 2026, we have to be careful about finances. We also have to be careful from Jan 26 to December 26. We also have to be careful from May 29 to July 2030. And as I said, December 28 to May 2029 may be the most, toughest period in this dasha, December 2028 to May 2029. But entire 7 years of Mars dasha, it is going to be a little bit challenging, and we should not hide from that fact. So there's this all, aggressive narrative that India is growing as a nation and it's becoming a developed nation. I don't think so, but we will have the fighting spirit to get towards that. So within the Mars period. Okay. So yeah, Mars indicates pitta, it indicates heat. So it's a fiery influence. So the fire brand kind of leadership will increase. We will see an increase in the things get heated up during this period. So we're going to see increase in uh, these kind of activities. And also we are, I think, what else? Okay, seventh house. Yeah. Seventh house, yeah, seventh house, as I said, it's the house of relationships and marriage. So marriage is something very important. So a lot of people are aggressively going to spend money on marriages in the next few years. And that's going to be also, I think, a self-destructive mechanism, because they've seen the Ambani spend a lot of money. So now the Ambani is at 200 snacks. So somebody came up in a wedding with 700 snacks. 700 dishes in a wedding. So I don't know if you're feeding humans or you're feeding pigs, with 700 dishes. So, but this kind of insanity, that is the aggression of Mars. So we are already getting into the Mars energy, if you see. And it's, the time periods are not isolated from each other. It's not like Mars period ends and then suddenly another period starts. No, there is a continuity. There is a feed forward and feed back, as you say. Things follow one another. So because of this, weddings are going to become more extravagant. People are going to burn money. People are going to destroy themselves. It's already happening for the purpose of weddings. They're going to destroy themselves. They're going to have something which is very crazy in weddings. You like what Ambani's did, having sensual cabarets and all kinds of dances and getting, uh, divas from all over the world and putting up a show. And I don't know if they had a circus, or I don't know if they had a circus for the wedding, but the people will have circuses for their wedding. They're going to have fire shows. They're going to have stunts. They're going to do all kinds of crazy things to set them apart. And in India's chart, as you can see, the seventh house is connected with second house. So it's always, there's a financial factor connected with marriage. Dowry was one of them. Then again, accepting gifts, which is mainly for the exchange of uh, illegal currency or black money or whatever it is, so that is also happening in the back door, that like multiple deals took place in the back door of some of the weddings, celebrity weddings and big weddings. So it is always connected with business and economy and money. So marriage and money is intricately connected in India, so this is going to this is going to actually get very big. It's going to explode in some way. And I think there will be a period when we will see that somewhere, a change is going to happen. A change is going to happen. So in July, we are having the Mars period. So anyway, before I come to the Uranus transit, with marriage, what is going to happen is people, after this whole explosion and craziness about, spending for weddings, actually people are going to change their ways. So they are going to adapt a more modern way. So revolution will happen in relationships, in marriage, in weddings. Wedding ceremonies are going to change. There's going to be change in the type of relationships that we have in India. There's going to be a big change. Unconventional relationships are going to grow during this Mars period in a big way. And people are going to fight back. There is a fight back that's going to happen. So now the law recognizes certain types of relationship, but that's all going to change. It is likely to change. change is difficult to bring, but in periods like Mars period, like just like we saw, Mars is a Ugra planet. It's a forward moving, aggressive, masculine kind of energy. Sun was also like that. So that's why the corruption movement during the Sun Dasha could dismantle the entire Congress. It was like the death knell for the Congress. So in the same way, Mars is going to do things with marriages, with economy, with corruption. A lot of new things are going to happen. You're going to see it. And the kind of relationships, you're going to see relationships between men and men, women and women. You're going to see new genders being accepted in a big way. All of this revolution is going to take place. This is a time also for revolutions for India in general. Revolution in business, revolution in love, revolution in economy. So a lot of changes are going to come in this Mars period. It's not going to be easy. It's going when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And I think India is known for being tough because we already have this Mars influence. We face a lot of difficulties. And yeah, I think this addiction to comfort came only in the last 10 years. And that is only for a small section. If you're very smart, you will observe that out of the 140 crores, 140 crores, which is 1.4 billion or whatever it is, or 140 crores or 1.4 billion. Out of the out of this 140 crores, there's only 6 to 7 crores, which is called as India One, which is actually enjoying the privileges of regular electricity, internet, comfortable lifestyle, modern lifestyle. But rest of the 130 crores are just, they're living very not all the 130 crores, but there's a big population which is living a very, what do you say, very uh, meager and poor lifestyle. That's a big chunk of the population. So what we think, because we are on the internet, we say India is progressing, India is progressing. No, it's not. Because you are seeing just the segment of people around you. You are not looking at the streets. You are not looking at the villages. You are having a very lopsided, skewed perspective of India. So anyway, I think that's enough of bitter truth. What else? What else? Let's see if there are any questions on Facebook. Let's see if people are curious to know about their country. Let's see. Let me see if there are any comments, questions. Doesn't look like. So anyone has any questions? If someone is watching, feel free to. So anyone has any questions? If someone is watching, yeah. So there's no questions, no comments as of now. So I think I've covered. I think I've covered most of the things that I wanted to cover. What else do I see? Yeah, Uranus transit. Very good. So June this year, Uranus is going to move from Uranus, the planet of innovation, the planet of new creation, is going to move from Aries, number 1, to Taurus, number 2. So it's going to hit Rahu and the ascendant, that is, it's going to hit the first house of India. So again, revolution, new things, new changes, new creation is going to happen in India with Uranus coming to, and it will be there for almost 7-8 years. Uranus transit is 7-8 years. There's also Mars Dasha going on. Also, I'd be curious to check, which I've not yet checked, but I'd be curious to check the Republic of India chart, which is the chart when we constituted our country as a republic. Let's see if we can. India, Republic, yes. Yeah, India Republic chart, yes. In the India Republic chart, May 2026, we are entering a Saturn Dasha. And it is Jupiter Rahu Dasha from December 23 to May 2026. So yes, next 2, 3 years, we're going to see a lot of things going up and down, things becoming volatile. So that's what I can say. Definitely. Things are going to be quite volatile in the next 2, 3 years. And the 7 years of Mars, Uranus transit to the first house, revolution, new things are going to happen. So actually, I thought of many things, and I was thinking I would be more pessimistic about this Mars Dasha, but now that I spoke about it spontaneously, I realized that there seems to be some reasons of optimism, and that is the, you know, inner feeling I'm getting right now. Mars is in the 10th house in the Navamsha chart in the sign of Sagittarius. So yes, foreign companies are going to set up shop. A lot of things are going to happen actually, like it's unbelievable. There's foreign investment, foreign companies are going to come. Some of them are going to leave, so there's going to be a lot of volatility in the job market in the coming years. And foreign businesses, foreign companies I think they will move to India. That's my hope. Of course, initially there might be a shakeup, but things will work out well. That's what it looks like. So yes, 7 years of hard fight. It's like going on a trek. It's like going on this adventure for India, for Bharat. And I wish everyone all the best. Check out the video, listen to it, maybe increase the speed or whatever, but I'm sure you will benefit from these insights. Cheers.